Welcome to Daily Fortune, where we talk about the latest topic about finance and investment. But before that, please don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you'll know when I upload new videos. Now, let's get started. Let's see what Michael Burry has been up to. Because we've been doing a bit of digging, and we found that there's something a little strange going on with Burry's investment, which might be a little surprising as well. So let's go and look together. We're back on Michael Burry's investment firm, Cyan Asset Management LLC, regulatory filings. If you want to see that information yourself, you can also search whalewisdom.com. So what really caught my attention was Michael Burry's complete lack of stock holdings. What we usually see now is very different from what we would normally see from Michael Burry, who usually manages funds over $600 million in investment. So the most recent filings are from September 30th, 2021. Well, we can't expect filings to really be updated since they're always going to be a quarter behind, so it's obviously a bit old. Now, I was doing the math here, and surprisingly, he sold out of typical $638 million in stock because we can only see that he's held onto stock worth only $38 million. Meaning he only has a 6% stock now. That's 94% of his stocks he just sold. And the interesting thing about these sales is that he was just getting out of everything. So he was selling out of his bet against Cathie Woods and her ARK funds, selling out of Google, and eventually even selling out his bet against Tesla. And if we go back to his old deleted Twitter account, which is at least archived, he used to rant and rave all day long about how overvalued Tesla and electric vehicles were. But if you look at it now, he sold out of his bets against Tesla. So this was a Tesla put, and it was a significant one too. I mean, he had millions in it, but that's gone. So it would make one think, is he finally admitting that he's wrong about Tesla? If we happen to think he's wrong on Tesla as well, here's the odd part for me. Burry has been talking a lot about how inflation is going to destroy the economy all this time ever since, and he thinks the best way to deal with it is to go against treasury bonds. But he also sold out his 30-year treasury put and call options. So what's the meaning of this? Why is he selling out of everything? It doesn't seem to matter if he's right or wrong. He's selling out of every single one of his key convictions, and we'll get into that later. So keep watching. But the way we can find the answer to that question is if we look at what's left, and we shouldn't put too much stock in this because it's only 6% of his original portfolio, but he's still holding on to CVS, which is a consumer staple where people get their basic daily necessities. He has one defense firm, the LMT Lockheed Martin, which is nothing too strange because everyone knows what Lockheed Martin is all about, and he's still holding on to Geo Group Incorporated, which is a private prison company, as well as CXW or the Core Civic Incorporated. Then there are these two remaining stocks, which are honestly too small to really bother with. So the big question here is, why is he still hanging on to CVS, Lockheed Martin, and private prison firms while selling out of what he considers bubble stocks like during the time he was betting against Cathie Woods, Tesla, and even the Treasury? So to address the question that many of you are probably thinking, why is he selling so much? There are a lot of articles on the internet about Michael Burry and what's really going on. Although, in my own opinion, I don't think any of them are really on the mark as to what I believe is going on. I think Burry is actually doing something not too different from what I'm doing, because if I had to guess, Burry sold out most of his stocks and paper investments in the filings here, probably because he realized just how dangerous the market is right now, with dangers of its fiscal policy, especially with all this inflation and the money going around. So Burry completely sells out of the market knowing there is no safe harbor or stocks anywhere. And that is why I think he instead took out his money from the stocks to invest in more tangible and real assets. There isn't a lot to mention here, but around November 2020 and around October as well, I noticed some things going on. So we actually sold 90% of the money I had left in what I was holding to shift my focus onto more tangible assets, on such example being farmlands, which if you actually look, has been doing really well in the past year. Let me show you. Because I was thinking, if I was going to be getting into any stock, it has to be safe. and more importantly, tangible. So there is this stock here, Gladstone Land, an agricultural farming company, and ever since the crash from COVID, right now it's close to 4 times now in valuation. It points before to when it was trading around $40. Again, with Michael Burry, it's very likely he sold everything off after realizing that the stocks just aren't really where you should be. It's all just fluff and inflation money, causing huge valuation spikes, and that it's all about to crash. He must have thought securing his immediate life is the most pressing issue, hence taking out all his money and maybe going out of his way to set up his own farm or ranch or something. Maybe even putting up his own residence surrounded with barbed wires. He might actually be aiming for personal autarky, which is basically an economic system that relies on having no trades, otherwise self-sufficiency as we may say. Because imagine being able to produce your own daily necessities. You then wouldn't have to worry about any currency crash, you wouldn't have to worry about anything at all if you have that set up. This makes sense because I still think he believes in the coming crash that he's always been talking about. It's very likely that not only does he believe a major crash is to occur very soon, since under usual circumstances, you wouldn't want to be off the stock market for too long, because we all know how stock prices can suddenly shoot up during good times, and if you're out there holding crash during those times, you could really be left far behind. If since September last year, Burry was out there holding 94% cash, that's probably quite a sign that the crash is happening very soon. Remember the time he had investment positions against US Treasuries in the US currency? Yeah, this is a much more concerning sign in comparison. And during those times as well, when I realized the market was heading deep into dangerous territory, that I pulled out and prioritized more immediate needs, energy production and food production. Again, autarky. Let's look at one of Burry's old tweets here, because I think this is really good evidence. For what it's worth, I've never shorted any cryptocurrency. This is my third bubble, and the biggest. I've learned a thing or two. 30-year treasuries, on the other hand, we might want to think, why would he call it a bubble? In any case, it seems he'll still be shorting 30-year treasuries though, at least based on what he said there. I believe the filings aren't lying here. I'm sure he did sell out of those positions. Now, after looking through his Twitter, while ignoring political topics, if he thinks being in cash for the short term is where he should be, it only means he is expecting the crash. For example, look at this topic here. For quite some time, he's been going on about speculation about the 1920s and everything going on at that time. More speculation than the 1920s, more overvaluation than the 1990s, more geopolitical and economic strife than the 1970s. But it seems to be that he expects the granddaddy of all economic collapses. Just a reminder, it's completely fine to disagree with Michael Burry. He's not right all the time, but most of the time though he is, so I would like to keep my faith in his predictions. Burry is one of those investors who has very unique ideas and always has something interesting to say. And even more interesting are his great track records, so I would like to take him seriously. What about you guys? What do you think about Michael Burry? Has he been wrong about there being a crash after all this time? Or are you gonna run for safety because you think he knows something is up? Because right now, much like Burry, I have my money out of the market. Right now, in these unsure times, it really does feel great to be securing more immediate and personal needs. I find it funny because for a while, I haven't been closely following Michael Burry, so it was almost reassuring that I was doing the exact thing he was doing. Now, for those of you who also follow Michael Burry, let me give you my opinion about his top stock. There's been a lot of articles that show CVS is his number one stock, but you might want to take note that while it is 40% of his portfolio, its actual market value is only $16 million, whereas he normally has over $600 million in stock, so this here is not a usual position. I don't think he's lumping everything into a one-shot investment on CVS. This is most likely just a rounding error based on his old portfolio. In conclusion, we won't really know for sure why Burry is off the market. Well, since he's off of Twitter as well, all we know is that based on these filings, he definitely sold out of everything. I mean, who knows? Maybe he just went to retire to focus on whatever hobbies he has. Although I would like to believe this simply means he just completely lost confidence in the financial markets, everything from treasuries to bonds, normal stocks and securities, out of it everything. This is definitely a sign. Not the only sign, but quite the sign, and a very bad one as well. Let me know what you guys think about what Burry is doing. Because all evidence points to him running to safety, but maybe you have a different idea. Let us know in the comments, and again, thanks for watching. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something from today's video, and to get updated with the next videos, please don't forget to hit the notification bell. See you next time!